to the Ultimate Fantasy Locker Room. It's me, Phil, with my boy Rock and my boy Mark.
My boy.
And we're here having a little bit of whiskey.
What's up, fantasy nerds?
Little Makers 46.
Yeah, is that pretty good? We have that, but no, I noticed only Mark.
St. Augustine.
Yeah, which Mark said, I mean, it's more of like the hardened liquor.
Yeah, it's not that, honestly, it's not that good, but
it's the kind you
I'm
make
so tired,
in your.
I just need a little.
It's the kind you make in your toilet in jail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow, you'd know about that. Little known fact, could probably use to start up your lawnmower.
yeah, no,
Probably.
right?
That's how harsh that stuff
It's
is.
pretty harsh.
That's why. Look how quickly it melted the ice. The ice
But I-
didn't stand a chance.
I mean, if you wanted to grow some hair in your peaches, though, it's probably the right drink for you.
Probably.
Well,
That'll grow your beard in.
I tried it once and that was enough. And I did feel, and St. Augustine, I'm sure you're a great,
Great people,
distillery.
great guys.
Yeah. And I've heard they have some good stuff,
Yeah.
but that was a double punch because that was like $63
Welt.
and it tasted like I could start my
Why'd you go out on the limb?
I was trying to
I mean, there's so many other
I was trying to support a local
good
brewery.
whiskeys for around that price or even a little bit cheaper.
Okay,
And
so
it
here's
was
the
like
truth.
a financial colonoscopy.
Get a nice bottle of Four Roses.
Here's the truth.
Yeah.
Just trying to show off my wealth a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
$63. I figured it had to be pretty good.
Yeah, it
I was
doesn't
wrong.
have to be.
I was wrong. Yeah, I was wrong. So, anyways, but hey, send us free stuff, St. Augustine.
I like how
Yeah, if it's
bought
good.
You bought a $63 bottle of whiskey and you brought solo cups to drink
I
it
did.
out of that night to show off your wealth.
I did. Hey, there's some things that you just never go away from.
You got to stay in touch with your roots. I agree.
It's solo.
Stay grounded.
He's from Ohio.
Stay grounded, my friends.
It's my high school.
In Ohio, they
household
drink out of bean cans.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what a bean can is.
You just empty out. Yeah, forget it. It's too much. I'm trying to give people a visual.
Sounds interesting, though.
Yeah, that sounds like something that would come from a jail cell too. You empty a bean can, you use it as a
You
cup.
can't have a can in jail.
You can't.
Oh,
Why not?
you
What are
kill
gonna do?
somebody with the top.
That's why they take the top off.
Yeah, you take
Who takes the top off?
Whoever
Anyways.
brought you the beans.
So you think they got staff in there that's just their job is to take tops off of bean cans?
So
Not just beans, though. I mean, corn, peas,
what are we talking about today?
canned
We're
peaches.
talking about
Yeah.
football, huh?
Yeah, we're talking about football and
A little
today's-
fantasy talk.
Yeah, and today's episode is going to be we're going to rank our top 5 fantasy offenses, and we're going to have a couple honorable mentions there too.
Yeah.
Strictly fantasy.
Yeah, strictly fantasy, and who wants to set up? What was our rationale when we were picking these teams? Because honestly, at one point we had
We had half the league
yeah,
up there.
easy half the league.
Yeah.
And then we whittled them down. And the thought is there should be 5 players
Yeah.
that we would consider drafting relatively high.
And how
And
we
starting.
got to our top 5 was it went across the 4 skill positions, stackable teams. So if you're putting together your draft and you just happen to fall into a spot where you have quarterback, running back, tight end, and wide receiver from these teams, you're okay. You're really not that pissed off that you ended up with
Right.
four dudes on the same team with the same bye week because they're stackable, because they're going to get you points all year long.
Well, and let me ask you that question too, because there are some people that try to get those combinations. So they're going to try to get Josh Allen and Stefan Diggs.
The old double.
think it's
the
Stephon.
double bubble.
Stefan. He prefers Stefan.
I don't think it's Stefan.
When we chat,
Yeah.
he asks if I would call him
You
Stefan.
talk to Stefan?
I do.
I think it's Stefan.
Stefan. Okay.
Stefan.
Anyways, so I don't honestly. Normally, I try not to stack,
Yeah.
just because I'm always concerned of that game that's a dud and you lose because of it.
I've always been scared of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay. So who wants to go first? Who wants to advocate? And we'll start at 5, right?
Well, you take this one.
All right,
Chief.
so this
Man,
is,
you just couldn't wait to break into this.
it's America's team. Let's give the let's give
Keep your pants on.
Had
okay?
we ranked them 4th, I'm sure we would have started at 4.
Yeah.
Somehow.
it would
You're
only
not
be-
wrong.
It would only be a top 4.
You're not wrong.
So we chose as our 5th best fantasy offense the America's team, the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
So
I'm still
much-
going to dispute the
Middle
the Americans
America?
team,
Is this middle America's team?
I mean, okay, Bears, Browns.
Lower class America's team.
This is
Poverty.
Indy,
Middle
Cleveland.
Earth.
Cleveland. Every time. So let's talk about why.
Ridiculous.
Let's talk.
Wait, the two choices were Indy or Cleveland?
Indianapolis is a good city. No disrespect.
How about a nap?
Cleveland.
Does a nap factor in there?
Cradle of America.
Okay.
Cradle of America. Okay, so
More like the bosom.
we liked Mayfield, right? We overall thought Mayfield is a draftable quarterback, probably top 10 or 12.
Well, all starting quarterbacks are draftable, just to go there.
Yeah, but I mean, like one that you're not going to be incredibly upset that you have.
Yeah, but
Just
I'm
a
also
little upset.
Yeah,
I'm not
little.
gonna reach for me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a little upset if I'm taking him as my quarterback 1, because that means that I missed out on a 10-man league. You definitely missed out on the 10 best. In a 12-man league, you missed out on the 12 best.
Wait, is Justin Fields one of the 10 best? Because I kind of feel like
no. Justin Fields is definitely at this point below Baker Mayfield. No doubt. There's no question there.
I think the offense holds Mayfield back to be fair to him a little bit.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
well, especially last year, they didn't require that he throw. When he had to, he actually did pretty well with it. And he went the last half of the season, last 8 games of the season, with only 2 interceptions, 20 touchdowns. So he showed the promise of what could be this year. But we liked him.
Yeah, and the guy lives in the stadium.
He does, yeah. Which is those are pretty cool commercials.
They're
They're They're funny.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. They're entertaining.
Yeah, his wife seems like a good sport too. You know,
Is that his real wife or is that a stage wife?
No, I think it's a real
I
wife.
don't know. Rocky would know.
It's a real wife.
Rocky stalks him, stalks his life.
All right, $1 million question though with Baker Mayfield. All the controversy and all the up in the airedness regarding Aaron Rodgers. Would you take Mayfield ahead of Rodgers?
I would take, as a Browns fan, the temptation would be to go with Rodgers and try to replicate what the Buccaneers did, right? You catch lightning in a bottle. Maybe
I don't think he's saying
No,
that. He
from
comes
a
to
fantasy-
look at him. He's ready to
No,
get
no.
undressed. No, he's saying,
No.
would you draft
From a fantasy
Rodgers
standpoint.
before?
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, still.
Rodgers, yeah. Even with the, I think Rodgers just a surer thing, and I agree with you. But I think Mayfield is, really 8 to 12. If you draft him there, you're probably okay with it.
Okay, yeah. That's the guy we want to talk about the least.
Okay.
So-
So who are the other 4 that we would want to pick up?
Chubb and what's his face?
Kareem Hunt.
Ike Turner. But I tell you what,
Nice.
both of those guys. I mean, you could start. I mean, I know last year there was guys that would start them both same week. I mean,
Yep.
we don't really even have to talk about these guys. I think it just goes without saying.
It's the only, or it's at least the first team where both running backs come off the board first.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So they're both coming off the board before any other team has their second running back come off. And they're both coming off higher than a lot of other teams' number 1 running backs.
Yeah. And they're, in an evolving offense, year 2 under the new coach, I think we might even see more sets where both running backs are on the field.
And I mean, you have to, because they're 2 completely different players. You have Chubb, who pounds the hole, and then you have Hunt, who is factored into the passing game.
Yeah.
And I love the way Chubb pounds the hole.
Chubb does.
It's my favorite part of his game.
Yeah. And okay, and then our wide receivers, right? We're pretty good with OBJ. We think he should have a decent rebound season.
Yeah.
Maybe. He's not going to be the old OBJ, but I will say he looked good until he got injured.
All of his rehab film looks good too.
Always does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's big. He's a big rehab film guy.
Yeah. Yes.
Whenever he's returning from an injury, he looks awesome.
Which is often.
Yeah.
And then
That's
you
fair.
got,
Which is like every year he's got.
and then you got
Back to
Chuck.
pounding holes.
Yeah.
I consider myself a bit of a hole pounder in my day. How about you guys?
I don't even know what that means. Were
You
you
just
a
hit
running
the
back?
hole hard.
Were you a running back?
I did play a little bit of running back.
Yeah. Most of you played quarterback with underside hand.
I
Undersized
did. I actually played quarterback until the kids all outgrew me, and then I just wasn't tall enough to see above the line.
Yeah. You
So
look
that
like
was
you
what-
could probably still
second grade or
pound the hole in.
You know what? You're not lying. No, actually. So I had my growth spurt early. So like I always joke, like in 8th grade, I was taller than all my friends, and then now I'm like the same height I was in 8th grade.
I thought you were talking about like in the womb. In the womb is when you hit your growth spurt.
Now listen, we're not going to talk about my mother's womb. Not on this podcast.
Okay.
That's a different conversation for another day.
All right. So
Fair enough.
Jarvis and OBJ, we feel pretty good about, right?
Yeah, we feel good about those
Putting us
guys.
back on track.
Jarvis is a good PPR guy. He's going to normally.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
solid floor. You hope OBJ could, like you said, be somewhat of what he used to be.
I told us.
He's a nice flyer. I think he's a guy that you could
I
get.
told us several weeks ago. OBJ is going to throw for 4 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He said that.
that was ludicrous.
I don't know. I think that's ridiculous, but
Do we like the tight end enough to draft Hooper high?
I love the tight ends.
I actually think Hooper is probably a surprise waiting to happen this year.
Yeah.
I really think that now that Hooper's figured out the offense last year and they started to use him a little bit more at the end of the season, especially the game where they had to go and run like 7 tight end sets because everybody else had COVID.
Yeah.
I think Hooper's primed to break out his second year in Cleveland.
Okay. So let's go into the team number 4 and who wants to take this team.
I feel like Phil had
It's a
something
little
else
bit of
to
a
say
surprise.
about tight
Do you have
ends.
something to say about tight ends?
Yeah, I love him. And I love Travis Kelce. Stud, my sleeper last year, as you guys would claim.
It's a good segue right
I'll
there.
tell you what. I mean, yeah, I guess it's surprising that they're 4 on this list, but like we explained our rationale, they do have guys in these skill positions, but their 4th guy is a bit of a toss-up. I mean, I think last week I even said that I thought Pringle would be the 4th most, or the 4th guy you would want to own on this offense.
Right.
And I think that
was the
and
issue,
I think the
right?
argument could be made, and that's just the issue with them. Is it Hardman? Is it Pringle? You know, but they're so top heavy with their trio there, their holy trinity, if you will,
Yeah.
that you have to factor them in, and that they're gonna involve that 4th guy. But the thing that will worry me is that maybe it won't be consistent with whoever that is. Maybe one week it'll be Pringle, maybe one week it'll be Hardman, and then it makes it a little bit less attractive. And if you wind up with a couple of these guys on your squad, maybe you don't feel as good as you would. But I'd say probably even Cleveland. I would probably, just talking it out right now, I'd still be tempted to put Cleveland at 4 and KC at 5. But I guess the talent up top kind of steers you
Yeah, I
away
think
from
you
that.
have to put Casey at 4 because you're talking about the first quarterback off the board. Definitely the first tight end off the board. Top 4 wide receiver off the board. And then their running back is coming off the board. Top probably 12 running backs.
That's what I would say. 10 to 12 is probably coming off. And I think that's why we gave KC a little bit of a bump over Cleveland.
Yeah, because even that 5th guy, because they're going to throw the ball, so there's going to be a 5th guy.
They are going to throw the ball.
You just don't know who it's going to be. And like you said, it could be Hardman, but the knock on Hardman is he drops a lot of passes.
Well, and he's a similar wide receiver to Tyreek Hill.
Except he can't catch as well.
Yeah. So to me, I think they're looking for that Sammy Watkins role more than they're looking for McCole Hardman.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So
They drafted somebody late, I think, right?
I think it seemed
Everybody
like
drafted somebody late.
1,000 receivers went in this draft.
You're not wrong.
It's,
You know what's interesting is that Rocky has so much money that while we're talking fantasy football, he's shopping for $700,000 homes. I mean, what are you doing?
It's not untrue.
Why are you doing this right now?
just to let our viewers know, we got here today at 4:30. It's now we're taping. It's 2:00 in the morning because Rocky could not put it down his cell phone.
Yeah, he's taking calls.
prior to taping.
Wait.
Now, just to remind you, this is 2017 Claremont Man of the Year.
I'm the one that's dragging out the broadcast. Let me just tell you, I don't think that's fair.
Just saying, that's a fact, right, Rocky?
I am curious about the real estate market.
Man of the Year.
Yeah,
Is that self-proclaimed or they gave that to you, right?
I don't know how I got it.
Sure you don't. And see, that's why he got it, because he's so humble.
Yeah, I don't quite know.
He's humble flexing on us right now.
Except for the pictures of this beautiful $700,000 home.
Yeah, no, it's true. I can't deny that.
I could live in the closet, probably. Me and my family.
He's going to see if the key to the city that they gave him back in 2017 opens the front door to this place.
It's like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, what does that get me? That's that
fair.
award. So, anyways, let's move on to the next thing. We're ready to move on to the next thing. I am looking at full
He is. I'm
disclosure.
not
I'm
lying.
looking at $600,000 homes.
Seven.
But that's
Looking at $690.
That's pretty cheap right now.
You see this? Do you hear this, people?
Well, no, I mean, in this
he
market,
thinks that's cheap.
No, in this market, that's not. It's not terrible.
Yes, if you're looking at a palatial estate, yeah, it's not bad. On the lake.
He enlightened me last night how much you can get per square foot, and it beat my estimate by like $40 a square foot. Wow. I didn't realize
he was undercutting his house, and I was like, "No, Mark, you can probably get 165." Now,
I need your realtor. I need a contact before we leave here tonight because my realtor is telling me 125.
Your neighbor, well, because maybe they got a good view of Phil in the full Monty in the bathroom. Fair. I mean, it could have been that the detraction is.
That's true.
Who's that?
I wouldn't want to live next to me.
Who's that angry neighbor? Elf?
Depreciated.
All right. So
they wouldn't even let me live in Rocky's neighborhood. All right, go.
Yeah. They do question you at the gate.
They do.
No, they don't even question. They pat them down.
They question you. What's crazy is that the security guard's black. So what is he? I mean, he should be on my side.
Okay, Mark and I immediately got uncomfortable with that.
You clamming up? I'm just saying. We're brothers, buddy.
Yeah. So, okay.
Just wave me right through.
Yeah. So
I shouldn't even have to stop and hand you my license.
License? What's that?
You should tell me what homes.
You know my license is suspended.
You should tell me what homes the people are away on vacation.
Well, see, now you go, what are you talking about?
That's what it seems like you're saying. That.
So now you think I'm coming to the place to rob it.
He should be involved in criminal activity.
Well, why is there automatically criminal activity?
Because he's just waving you in.
Well, he's seen me come to your house 3 months straight every Thursday. I mean, we have to do the same song and dance?
I don't know if you're that memorable.
I'm pretty memorable. I mean, look, come on.
He does pound the hole pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty hard. Not just good, hard. Good and hard.
So, number 3, Tampa Bay. Who wants to take number? Mark, why don't you take Tampa Bay?
It's Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. So Tampa makes this list, obviously, because, last year, not only winning the Super Bowl, but they had a very potent offense. So you start with Brady.
Potent. I don't like I'm in your picture right now.
You are?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Slide that to,
We call that the good.
A little bit behind, get you behind the curtain here. A little bit more. You still see my body. I don't want you to see my body. There you go.
We refer to this one as the good camera, so we have to make sure that this is.
We put the worst face on the best camera.
Spot on. So Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, old, yes, check. Mm-hmm. But he's got a ton of weapons, right? So in that backfield, you have Fournette and you have Rojo, right? So you have
take your pick.
You got playoff Lenny coming into the regular season, second year in the offense, maybe picks it up a little bit better. Rojo, who's very explosive, as he showed us with that 94 yard, right, touchdown.
It's a nice deck.
Then you have the guy they drafted last year. What the hell's his name? Keyshawn Vaughn. And then they signed Giovanni Bernard. So a little messy, but you figure one of them is probably going to come out, right? So then you go to the tight end situation.
I think Gio is going to rise to the top.
You have Gronk, who's long in the tooth as well, but he has a rapport with Brady. And then you have O.J. Howard, who was actually the third most targeted person in that offense before he went down with injury in week 3 or week 4 last year.
But who might be the most talented, really, of all the tight ends on the roster.
Yeah, and then then you have take your pick at wide receiver. I mean, there's just weapons galore, right? So if you get any of these guys, you're happy. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. And Antonio Brown, you're getting at a discount later on because this is season 13 or 14 for Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
But every time he gets on the field, he still looks explosive. So, I mean, again, a team that you can definitely stack.
He, to me, last year looked like a very startable wide receiver, especially as he got into the offense. And it seemed like it took a little bit of time for him and Brady to figure it out. But once they did, it was an exciting,
And more importantly, come fantasy playoff time, Antonio Brown was starting to get a bunch of balls thrown his way.
He was.
So, throwing him in your flex when you have 2 studs and then Antonio Brown putting up big points in your fantasy playoffs.
You talk a lot about best ball leagues.
Yeah.
And it would seem like Antonio would be a great one to throw in there because in any game he could have 3 touchdowns.
Any game. He could have 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Definitely got us better for best ball than I would say week to week.
Yes.
Well, he doesn't
He might give you a headache week to week.
Yeah. But he doesn't seem to have denigrated at all.
Skills? No.
Yeah, he seems as quick. Like I watched him And there was a touchdown he got either in the Super Bowl or in the last
was a Super Bowl.
And he just flat out was the fastest guy.
Well, I mean, when, rewind 2-3 years, he was coming off a great season, went to the Raiders, and stuff just went crazy. I mean, there was never any deterioration of skill with AB.
Yeah, no, it was legit just crazy. It was all mental stuff that took him out of Vegas.
You know what? He got taken down by masseuses too, right? Wasn't that there something about a masseuse?
No, he was the one that frostbite on the feet, on the bottom of the feet.
Oh,
Yeah, in camp, it was frostbite on the feet, and then it was the helmet because they changed
there was a woman
that came later, though. That was after he left the Raiders. I think, that kind of disappeared, too, so who knows what that was about. But
yeah, I think it was assault down here somewhere, right? Like,
well, that was
Florida.
Yeah, but see, this is why all these cases are kind of crazy because there's so many NFL players that have had like these assault cases, and I don't know what happened with this case, but a lot of times it turns out to be, an argument and stuff happened, and then guys are just trying to make a payday.
Yeah,
but I know with him, the one with the women, just to put this in a nutshell. It was somebody that he had worked with and dated before, I believe, and they had communications. But then she made this allegation, but she had been in contact with him still after.
Yeah.
So it was a little, I don't know, convoluted.
A little iffy.
Yeah, that's a little fishy.
All right, let's move on to the Rams. I feel pretty strong. They're team number 2. We surprisingly, I was a little bit surprised by number 1, but the Rams would have been my number 1 choice. Mm-hmm. And it's just overall, I like where they're heading. I like Sean McVay as a offensive mind. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that Stafford is going to be probably more invigorated than he has been in 10 years.
His whole career.
And he's a great quarterback. Didn't really show any downgrading of skill set. I love Robert Woods. I think he's an underrated receiver, and I like Cooper Kupp. I like Cam Akers quite a bit, and I like that they decided on a tight end.
Yeah.
This year, I think what hurt them last year is they had Higbee and Everett.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were kind of stealing from each other, but it seems like that's cleared up quite a bit.
Well, you made the call last week or the week before. You think Higbee's going to be a top 5 tight end?
I think that was me.
Yeah, I think that was Phil.
That was Phil.
Thank you.
It's good. I rarely agree with Phil. That's why I wasn't going to put that.
He's lying. He loves
John Stamos. What? Did we just become best friends?
You don't just wait. Just keep talking.
I like to wait, though.
Yeah, I like to listen to it every
you
time.
guys like to listen to it.
Like it's the first
It
time I've
makes
ever
me
heard
chuckle.
it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry.
So, anyways, all
Rams.
right.
The only thing that scares me about the Rams is Akers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do like him.
Yeah, and he looked good. Last 4 to 6 games of the season seemed like he was really finding his place.
No, he looks good.
Great receiving back too, which I kind of like.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is too, they decided on their running back too, because Malcolm Brown's gone and Darrell Henderson. No, Darrell Henderson might still be there, but Brown's gone.
Yeah. But I think you would say right now, if you were drafting running backs, that Akers would be top 20 back for sure.
Well, yeah, for sure, yeah.
And so I think if we're talking top 20 and we're 5th player, I think Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp are both top 20. I think
Higbee's a top 10 for sure.
Yeah, which in tight ends, it's a little bit scary, but still, I think he's there. We think Stafford, is Stafford a top 5 quarterback this year?
No. I don't think so.
I don't know, man. I think he can
who
be.
do you go ahead of him?
No way.
You don't think he? You don't
He
think
just doesn't add anything on the ground. There's too many guys that could get
who do
you
you
points
go?
on the ground.
So you
Top
go
5.
Jackson,
Yeah, I go Jackson, Mahomes,
Rodgers,
Josh Allen.
Rodgers, Allen, and Watson if he plays.
That's
If Watson
6.
doesn't play, then I go Wilson.
Yeah. So so then you're making the case.
It's just
that
their
he's probably-
their running part of the game.
Yeah, he's
Take
outside
the quarterback and out. Yeah, I mean,
Well, then
they just add so much.
You got to take Rodgers out at that point too. Then, and I mean, Kyler
He's so
Murray.
efficient. I
I put Kyler Murray in that top 5 if
don't.
you're going to talk about the dual threat quarterbacks.
Yeah, my fear with Kyler Murray is I just think he's going to have a short NFL career because I don't think his body. I think he's a legit 5'8" to 5'9".
Yeah.
Like he is shorter than Wilson. He's just not built to run. He's going to break down, I think.
That's not what I worry about with him. What I worry about with him is just last year, it's just on and off. his ability to throw the ball consistently is in question.
I think that's why they run so much of their offense out of the shotgun too, and like 15-step drops is so that he's able to see over the offensive line.
Yeah,
Well, I think
and they
with
do that
Rodgers-
with Mayfield, and Mayfield is a head taller than him.
I think Rodgers, the issue, not the issue, the thing I like about him that kind of makes up for the lack of the ground yards is that he's so efficient, and
They score
the
touchdowns.
touches that Aaron Jones get, they score a lot of touchdowns, but a lot of the touches that Jones and the backs get are dump offs and screens that they design. I mean, so he's not losing a lot to his star running back.
Yeah,
He's involved in a lot of, like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not a James Robinson thing.
Their
where-
running game is short passes as much as it is actually run.
And they get red zone. You know, they're just as probably more comfortable throwing the back shoulder to Adams as they are running the ball. He's just, I don't know. It's a weird thing, and maybe it's just the
I think
the
Rodgers.
name that does it for me. But
No, I think Rodgers. I could possibly put as my number one quarterback in the NFL still. So I know
fantasy
you
or
hate that.
just
I want to go on
Just
record saying
as far
that
as skill set, like if I'm picking a quarterback right now
yeah.
on their physical abilities,
Yeah.
Rodgers is still in the conversation.
Oh yeah, I would probably
Brady
still
isn't
have him.
outside of his brain. Brady isn't as far as physically.
I think last year, he won the MVP last year. That's what we're talking about. So
Okay.
I want to go on record saying that Aaron Rodgers is an a-hole.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know why you feel like that.
I get that.
And if he leaves Green Bay, maybe I reevaluate the situation.
You've got a dirty, whorish mouth.
I do.
You have.
It's not like he's been in the way of the Bears winning. The Bears have been in the way of themselves winning.
No, Rodgers has dismantled Chicago on many occasions.
I know, but he didn't keep them from winning a Super Bowl.
I think in your narrative,
Sure, he did. Actually, the year that
That's what works.
Chicago
Well, that was
Through-
I think it was Cutler's knee injury that probably.
they let Green Bay in because all they had to do and that was they were very dynamic.
Yeah,
that
they were
year.
good.
I'm just going to say
They
that
let Green Bay in on the last week.
this belief about Rodgers is probably what is keeping Mark away from alcoholism as a Bears fan. And I think we should give it to him.
Away?
Yeah, I think if he didn't believe it was somehow Aaron Rodgers' fault and it was just
Yeah, I
terrible
guess.
decisions by an inept
It's a
franchise,
coping mechanism.
yeah, he could be
That makes-
self-medicating.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
So Aaron Rodgers is my coping mechanism.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
very
I mean-
interesting viewpoint.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
So you were surprised by Atlanta at number one.
Yeah, so Atlanta is our number one team, and it would not have been my first choice. But as you guys talked about it, I definitely came around and felt a lot better about it. So, Mark, why don't you take it?
I was
'cause
gonna
think
say,
you
let-
were the strongest.
What?
All right, I'll do it. I was going to let you break it down because I know
Look.
you liked Atlanta too.
Break it
Well,
down.
we'll pass it back and forth like a hot potato.
Like a
okay?
hot potato.
Just don't eat it.
So, all right, let me start with the tight ends, man, just because there's a lot of buzz with Kyle Pitts.
I like finishing with the tight ends, but
I like starting with them. And then by the end, never mind. So anyway, Kyle Pitts, man, there's a lot of buzz about Kyle Pitts. And I think it's probably justified looking at his game film. And in Atlanta, it's perfect situation because he's got wide receivers on opposite ends of that line of scrimmage that are going to demand coverage. I mean, you're looking at possibly dedicating 4 defensive backs to 2 guys. Where does that leave Kyle Pitts?
That's true.
That leaves Kyle Pitts just destroying linebackers all day long. And
Yeah.
I like him. And then they have Hayden Hurst on the other side of the offensive line in 2 tight end sets, and Hayden Hurst has proved to be a very serviceable tight end.
Definitely has really good hair too. But what that is what kind of worries me a little bit is I don't know who it's going to be. Is it going to be Pitts or is it going to be Hayden Hurst? Are they going to break Pitts in slowly? I don't know. And
Well-
that worries me.
to that point, I would say that I can make the same argument against Tampa, where I don't know which receiver it's going to be.
Right.
I don't know
Yeah.
what tight end it's going to be. I don't know what running back it's going to be.
Yeah, and it could be that Gronk catches the touchdowns on the drive that Cameron Brate or OJ get all the yards,
Yep.
which doesn't help their value.
Yeah, I think that's just by the rationale that we used to pick these teams. It's just, I think the natural progression there is that you're going to have some uncertainty about who's where because we were looking more at multiple guys that you could start versus clear-cut guys.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a different list that we could probably do another show about.
Yeah, and that's as you were saying that, I was thinking the same thing.
No.
Like offenses that it's like the one dude that they run
everything through. Yeah, and that's not well. And I think you made great points about Calvin Ridley and Julio. I think Matt Ryan is an above-average quarterback still.
He still
a
is.
few years removed from being the MVP. You like Mike Davis a lot.
So would you think Mike Davis, we just had this about Akers, you said he'd be a top 20 back. You think Davis would be a top 20 back?
Yeah, I think Davis will get drafted as a top 20 back.
You think he'll finish as that, though?
If I owned Mike Davis, I would try to trade high on Mike Davis. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think even if he does have a good year, I don't think he's their long-term solution. And that scares me.
Well, we're just talking about this year with this, right? We're not talking dynasty terms.
So
Right.
redraft-wise, I think Mike Davis is a great play.
I think he's a great 1 year play and then see where it goes.
Yeah, because there's no one there to really challenge him for snaps.
Yeah, although I do think they are going to pick up somebody off the waiver wire at some point because there was a rumor that they were actually heavily interested in carry on.
That would make sense.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, but why?
You missed your cue. You queued yourself up and missed the cue.
And he missed it.
Carry on my wayward son.
He's bad at this
There'll be
producer
peace
stuff.
when you are done.
we can't talk through that. It's like
Everybody knows the song.
it's like
I was
rock.
going to give him props too earlier because the fades are getting a lot better. But
Yeah, he's getting better. I mean, it's a slow process. Baby steps.
he's earned his name.
So Atlanta,
sometimes.
the finishing touch on Atlanta. I think their wide receivers you can compare with any of these 5 teams, and I think you can make the argument that they're better or as good as any of the tandems on this list.
Yeah.
Tight end, I mean, you're not going to put him above Kelsey.
No.
But besides Kelsey, I think he's probably the next best, and we haven't even seen him play. Right?
Yeah.
Mike Davis, I think, is in the mix with all these running backs besides the 2 on Cleveland, which is probably what got him on this list. And the quarterback, I think, is comparable with everybody besides Mahomes at this point.
Okay. So let's talk about quickly because I think that we are kind of running out of some time here.
No, we're doing good. We're doing pretty
for
good.
time?
We're only on 34 minutes, so.
It's pretty good for us. So
I like how we always highlight our segues and how much time we've spent doing stuff.
Listen,
it is what
we
it
like
is.
to let the people behind the curtain.
what it is.
You guys are part of the production.
We just want you to understand that we value your time and we're
sure do.
trying to, we don't want to waste it.
Yeah, that's why Rocky's looking at houses.
Yeah. and land, to be fair.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the 5 four that were honorable mentions that we struggled with. And let me tell you this. We had a lot of teams on
Sure
there.
did.
We had the Jets. We had talked quite a lot about.
Careful, watch the mic.
Yeah, I know.
It's coming, it's moving fast.
Did you crack them?
No.
You hit that pretty hard.
No. So we had the Jets, and who else was on? We had
a lot. We had the Jets.
It'd be easier to mention who wasn't on there.
we had the Carolina.
I think the only team that wasn't on there was
the
the
Carolina.
Patriots.
We talked about the Bears
Yeah,
a little bit.
sure did. We had Minnesota up
We had
there.
Minnesota on there a little bit.
Yeah,
because-
we had Indy up
We had
there.
Indy.
We had Pittsburgh up there.
But let's talk about
Cincinnati.
the first, like the one that
Runner-up.
almost made the top 5.
And that is the Ravens of Baltimore.
Yeah.
That is. Tell us why.
Well, I mean, pretty easy, right? I mean, I'd still think, well, I'll ask you guys. After Rodgers, Mahomes, to me, the next guy I'm probably taking as a quarterback is Lamar Jackson. So you have a guy, I mean, that's counting Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson is a stud. You have Dobbins there. You have Mark Andrews, Marquise Brown, who was so-so, but they went and drafted a guy, and I'm forgetting his name. Who did they draft?
At what position?
Wide out.
It was another Brown.
Oh, it was.
It was another Brown. Okay, we'll wheel back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had
I'll find out.
Andrews. They signed Watkins. Yeah, I think they just got guys at every skill position that I wouldn't mind.
Was
it Bateman?
Right?
Yeah, Rashad Bateman.
Okay, yeah, and I like Bateman.
I
too.
was
Yeah, from Minnesota.
scouring my brain to try to figure that out.
Yeah, so I mean, I would be comfortable starting Jackson, Andrews, and Dobbins any given week. And that's what we're talking about. So,
Yeah.
And then you have Watkins, who we don't know who he's going to be, the rookie. Maybe he shows up. Maybe Brown, with a legitimate guy on the other side, turns into what we thought he would be with the speed 2 years ago.
Great bus ball play.
Yeah. So yeah, still right. Yeah, I mean they're pretty loaded, and they were very close to making this list. We just like I
There's
think
a lot of
Cleveland had
things.
more of consistency with the running backs, and more. I mean, I like Andrews, but I still like the talent at tight end for Cleveland a little bit better.
The thing that I love about Baltimore is the bargain shopping that you're able to get with them.
That's true.
Because Lamar Jackson, who I have rated second, he's my second quarterback. So Mahomes and then Jackson slightly ahead of Josh Allen for the running factor and the fact that he's got weapons. But I'm able to score Jackson in the 5th round, sometimes the 6th round. So I've already got 2 stud running backs, 2 stud wide receivers. Now I'm going out and I'm getting who I believe to be a top 2 quarterback. Yeah. And the other one is Mark Andrews, because Mark Andrews is the 4th tight end off the board. It's been going Kelsey, Waller, Kittle. Andrews is coming off 4th. Sometimes Andrews is coming off 5th and 6th, because sometimes Pitts is up there. Occasionally you'll see somebody else slide in there, whether somebody reaches for Tanyan way too early. Or
I'd be happy if I landed with Andrews as my tight end.
Absolutely. And in like the 8th, 9th round, dude, you're
that's great.
Ecstatic.
Yeah.
So the only thing that, like, to me, we talk about, like, why didn't they make number 5? Like, why weren't they number 5? And I think I like Andrews a tremendous amount, but he has been in previous seasons touchdown dependent.
He is touchdown dependent.
And so, like, I prefer a tight end that's going to have a higher floor. Mm-hmm. And Andrews had some stinkers last year completely.
He did.
Yeah, but then he had some games where, my God, he had 2 touchdowns. I'm not as high on Lamar Jackson as clearly you both are.
Yeah, I guess so.
So
nothing worse than a tight end with a stinker. It's a real turnoff.
Yeah, and a low floor.
Yeah,
you don't want that.
That was that's a low bar humor.
I don't know what you're talking about, buddy.
I don't either.
Oh, you're talking about his? Yeah.
Oh, I see what
Stinker,
you did. I see what you
mean,
did there. Yeah. I didn't even realize it.
All right, so next we got the Cowboys. Whatever.
Yeah, so you hate talking about the Cowboys, but
I could talk about them, but I hate them.
I'm gonna make the case that prior to Dak's injury, their offense was absolutely on fire.
It was
absolutely on fire, and it seemed like there was plenty of throws to go around.
Yeah, and they're still below 500, but yes.
Yeah, they were. But that almost in some ways helps because their defense sucked so bad.
Yeah.
I just hate
their offense is on the
well.
field.
So I think you got Dak, who's probably, do we think he's a top 10 to 12 quarterback?
I'm a little cautious with Dak. I told you this injury that he had, it's a bad injury.
Yep. And it happened game 8, right?
No. It was like game 5 or
4, I think 4 or 5.
Yeah, it was against the Giants. I think it was week 5 or week 6.
Yeah, the Browns were game 4, and then it was against the Giants.
I'll tell you what. Yeah. I think when we talked about Dak earlier this year, we talked about who was the one. There was one other quarterback that had this injury, and I'm blanking now. But the other guy that had this injury, it didn't work out well. It's a bad injury. So I'm a little hesitant on Dak, but I think you can't deny the talent and all that jazz and how good they were before he got hurt on offense. So to me, the reason he didn't make the list, they didn't make this top 5, was because of Dak.
I mean, if you're not going to be scared to get back in the saddle, there's no better saddle to get on than a thoroughbred, though. On offense, I mean, he's getting right in there with a ton of weapons, and I want to see him. Cooper, Lamb, Gallup is no slouch.
No,
you have a couple.
Gallup hasn't been signed officially yet, though, has he? Because I think he's still an unrestricted.
I think he's still a free agent, but
oh no, you're right. He's actually under contract.
Oh wait, no,
I think he is under contract one more year.
One more year, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's got all 3 of the receivers.
Then you have Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz, you have Zeke, and then probably the number 1 handcuff being drafted is Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I like Pollard.
It's a very strong second back.
Yeah, and I say that only because, there's some teams where you expect 2 running backs. So Cleveland, you expect Chubb and Hunt. Oakland or Las Vegas, you're expecting Jacobs and Drake. Cowboys, you're not expecting a timeshare. So you're going, Pollard's like a legit handcuff. And I think Pollard's one of the first handcuffs coming off the board.
Well, I mean, we talked about it last year. I loved Pollard coming in. Even last year, I liked him. It didn't work out as well as I thought, but he's explosive.
Yeah.
And, the wear on tear and Zeke, if he gets a little banged up, I mean, I think Pollard's more than capable of
and even worse,
carrying you for a week or two.
Even worse about Zeke is we saw last year when the team was clearly out of it. I kind of questioned
That's true.
Zeke's effort. to be honest.
Well, he is from the Ohio State, so
I know, which is why, like, I sent him
I wasn't surprised.
a strongly worded letter about upholding the great tradition of the
Really?
Buckeye football.
So speaking of mediocre, let's break right into the second best team in New Jersey, and
There you
that's
go.
the New Jersey Giants.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
We said,
just gonna roll with that.
we gave them an honorable mention because they have a bunch of weapons. Let's face it. I mean, can they put it together though?
We'll see.
So you have Saquon coming back. So Saquon is religiously one of the top 4 to 5 backs off of the board.
Yep.
You have Evan Ingram, who can't catch, but somehow always ends up with yardage.
Well, he's the worst guy because he catches really difficult balls.
Yeah, and then drops like the
Easy balls, he
the
just
ones in the
drops.
breadbasket.
Drops a routine passes.
So they bring in Kyle Rudolph, who's been a red zone monster throughout his career. And then, we get to the wide receivers. Kenny Golladay coming off an injury, but coming into a situation where he's the automatic number one, giving Daniel Jones a real threat on the outside.
Well, I think we were high on Golladay last year
Yeah.
when he was healthy.
Yeah.
He looked good.
Yeah.
Well, he's a playmaker. That's the thing about it. He
even-
scores touchdowns.
Even that first game back, man, he went up for a jump ball and he went over the back of the defender with no fear.
Yeah, the
And
thing
then-
is, he's
Well, and that's a little bit of my fear with him because it seems like he's got something he needs to prove.
Yeah.
Maybe it's where he was drafted or
Maybe.
but so to me, sometimes I'm like, man, you're just getting back off injury
fair.
and you're jumping over this guy.
Yeah.
He's back into
But some guys can't,
Can't turn
they
it
have
off.
one speed they play at.
Yeah.
And what I'll say about, like I was saying, he's I think 3 years, I might be off, so don't kill me, but I think he 20 touchdowns in 4 seasons, and he missed some time. So
Yeah.
he scores touchdowns. And then, this is my team, so I know the personnel well. Shepard is still a guy you could play in the slot. I'll be a little hesitant this year with the draft pick they made.
I think he's the odd man out.
Kadarius Toney, I think he is too, just because his contract is ending. So, but Kadarius Toney, I think they're going to find ways to get him the ball. He's going to give you some value in the return game.
I think if Tony comes in
And Slayton's underrated.
and shows and that's kind of to my point. If Tony comes in and shows what he's capable of,
Yeah.
I think it could be that Slayton drops balls too.
Oh, last year he did. His first year,
He looked good.
Now, coming out of college, that was the knock on him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he looked good the first year. Looked pretty rough last year a little bit.
But he goes up and he high points the ball. He makes contested catches. So if he could show up his hands, he could be a lot better. But he has speed, too.
Yeah, but I think Tony, may have all of that.
I
He
think
may
Tony's
have
a stud.
Tony's
got
going to be a
speed.
stud.
The more
He's
I've
a-
looked into him,
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
the
he's a
drafting
joystick.
The drafting of Kadarius Toney, I think, has screwed a lot of my late round sleeper best balls because I was getting Slayton late round, and I'm like, here's a dude, best ball. This is a great play.
who's
And then-
Slayton? Yeah.
And then enter Kadarius Toney, and now he's going to pull those balls away from Slayton and Shepard, I think.
Well, and I don't know at the end of the year if, when we talk about the best rookie receiver at the end of the year, I don't know that it won't be.
Oh, I
Toney,
think there's
which is
I hate
shocking
talking
to
about
say.
this because I'm a Giants fan, right?
Yeah, we hate talking about it,
But
too.
it doesn't
no.
matter. We talked.
It's better to talk about the Bears, though.
Last episode we talked about size, speed,
Yeah.
weight, and this guy's got it all with the ability. Like the Browns drafted a guy named Schultz. He's got speed, breakaway,
Yeah.
but he doesn't cut.
So okay.
Tony can do it all.
Well, like you said, I was surprised with his size.
Yeah.
When I looked at the measure, he's the same height as OBJ. Like comparing to OBJ, because OBJ recent memories probably that 5-year run he had, and being with the Giants, the parallel is there. I mean, probably one of the best guys we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Besides, I mean, I go back to probably Julio.
Well, I think he's a shade quicker than OBJ.
Well,
coming out.
he's 40 was faster, higher vert.
Yeah.
He's the same. I think the same height and about the same weight. Like,
I think he's the
Well, we've compared them to Tyreek.
yeah.
well, that's what's funny about.
But
Well,
he's a
yeah,
little
Tyreek,
bit, but he's a little bit taller than
Yeah.
Tyreek,
bigger than
he's
Tyreek.
bigger.
Yeah.
which is crazy. So Tony and the gentleman that the Browns drafted are, if they had been timed at the official combine,
Yeah.
combine,
Combine.
would have been
Columbine.
Columbine.
Oh,
Would have,
man.
that's terrible. That's,
R.I.P..
Yeah, I gotta get that out there.
Yeah. What was that about?
Little death humor there, but
Oh, I spoke nothing about the That's part of it.
They would have been the 4th fastest time ever clocked.
Yeah.
Now they say, well, but it was at their home field,
Yeah.
you know. But still, okay,
They're
give them another.
fast.
Yeah, they're fast. So, anyways, so that was why the Giants made it, and I think we were all in agreement. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't that it was just you being a homer.
Yeah.
We really all felt like the Giants. The only question for me is the quarterback.
The
Does
quarterback.
Danny
I think,
Jones
and
hold
for me,
on to the ball
here's
enough
the
to
thing with
get the
Dan.
ball to
Yeah, it's
somebody?
the ball, and we're just talking over each other.
Yeah, but I mean, it's saying the same
it's
thing.
the ball security. But he showed up the ball security last year. I'm not so much worried about what worries me about him is just being a Giants fan, seeing if the other shoe falls and whatever. But to me, the biggest thing is if the line plays better. I think if that offensive line plays better, I've watched Jones every single game. I've watched his tape from college. He makes good decisions. He's not a stupid quarterback. He makes his reads, but he gets jumpy when there's pressure, and that lends itself to the strip sacks and whatever. He shorted up last year, but if the line plays better, I think they could jump into that top 5, but we just don't know what – you can't. If I can't say it about, with Dak being hurt, I can't – we don't have Jackson in the top 5. I can't go throw the Giants in the top 5.
I feel like Danny and Baker have similar traits in when they look good, you fully believe you can build a franchise on their abilities.
That's fair.
And when they don't, sometimes you're like, holy hell.
Here's the difference.
He's taller.
Because we're gonna that
faster.
too.
Yeah.
He is faster. He definitely has a lot more on the ground. But I think the distinction I'd make is that Mayfield, when he looks bad, he's throwing interceptions, and when Jones looks bad, he's losing fumbles.
Tripping over the
So it's a
10-yard
different.
line.
It is different.
Yeah.
And I like Mayfield. So I'm not. I just think I think Jones. He's never had a game where he's just thrown bad interceptions. It's been the strip sack. So I think decision making is better than Mayfield, but I think it's still in the box score. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
They
the
turn
back
the ball
score,
over.
right.
They turn the ball over.
All right, another good segue. Speaking of not mattering, our viewers don't care about comparing Cleveland and the Giants, fellas.
I don't
Well,
think.
Let's move on to
Guess
the next
what?
I feel
honorable
like they-
mention.
That's why
I
we're
feel
doing
like
the
they
show. Okay.
All right, let's go to Washington. Washington made our choice as the 4th honorable mention.
I like Washington.
Yeah, and I think you've said it several times. Patrick has nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Year 18. What the hell? What does he care? He's going to go out there and he's going to sling it to the weapons
That's
they got
right.
him.
Living the dream.
Underrated tight end. I think we're all pretty high on Logan Thomas
Yeah.
and what his potential could be.
Antonio
We
Gibson,
love Gibson and we love some of the other
Even
running backs.
McKissick. I mean, and then
Say that
7
times quick. McKissick.
It's definitely difficult. And then on the outside you have Scary Terry and you have Curtis Samuel, and then enter Diami Brown, who they drafted, who's another
Which you were really
potential.
high
I like
threat.
that way around. Yeah.
I think they just said, hey, we're going to do you a solid here, Fitzpatrick. We know this is probably your last NFL season. Let's surround you with a ton of weapons and see what you can do, because our defense is stellar.
Well,
Go win
and
us
I
some
think
games.
I think, it could be a typical Fitzpatrick where he throws a lot of interceptions.
Oh yeah.
But I think that offense is moving.
Oh, this is definitely a Jameis Winston of 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago type
Are
of
we
season.
saying is he
for
the white
Fitzpatrick.
James? Is he white Jameis?
White Jameis? Well, I think
Yeah.
Jameis would be Black Fitz, right? Because Fitz
Oh,
was
he was
first.
first. Yeah. So,
It's his first.
but just for the sake of this conversation, white Jameis.
White Jameis.
White Jameis.
I like
Eat the
that.
W's. My
It
spirit
almost
animal,
sounds
by the
like,
way, right?
Black Jesus, white Jameis.
White
White
Jameis.
Jameis.
Sound like
Kind of
that.
seemed a little bit like that. So
Listen, I love Fitzpatrick. Okay,
We should hurry up and
it's
trademark
my
that.
spirit animal. I mean, what are we saying about him? He
He's short,
has
he's ugly.
nothing to lose. Not ugly. I am sure. Nothing to lose. Right? Slings it all around, hitting the hole hard.
yeah, it doesn't really seem
Right?
to care.
Doesn't care.
I mean, like,
My kind of guy.
yeah,
Makes OK Coquito.
Yeah.
yeah.
So we want to talk about the other guys.
Well, so the last 2 that we debated, believe it or not, were one was a surprise team, I think, but it was the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes.
And then the other one that we debated was
Yes.
the Chargers. And we debated the Chargers because we like Air Bear, our favorite nickname quarterback out there.
Yeah.
Well, not any longer. White Jameis.
Yeah, White Jameis.
White Jameis.
White
That's
Jameis.
his new name.
Yeah,
by the way.
White Jameis forever.
That's my new favorite quarterback nickname.
Ryan
Jared King's head
Fitzpatrick.
might explode.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, if you could come on our show and allow us to refer to you as White Jameis,
Oh yeah.
that would be fantastic.
Oh, yeah, White
And then
Jameis.
I think he would like St. Augustine bourbon too.
Oh yeah. He's always
I'm just
saying.
thinking,
yeah.
I don't think there's a bourbon he's
Little-
met that he doesn't.
little
I think
bourbon in
he's
the beard.
drinking it out of the bottle.
For
I
sure.
don't think he's using a solo cup. But
No,
all right. So
not him.
anyways, we talked about the Chargers. We do like Air Bear. We
Yeah.
do think Keenan Allen is a really great receiver.
Yeah.
We like Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
We like the tight end. We're not sure who it is, but we know that they used their tight end pretty heavily last year.
Yeah. I'm done. Yep.
Yeah, and I think it's Jared Cook, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
we
that who
think
they
it's Jared
signed?
Cook. And then the only question we had was the other receiver. Is it somebody who
Is it
we're really
Mike
drafting?
Williams? Is it
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Williams has looked good.
Josh Palmer?
A lot.
The guy they just drafted.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was our reasoning on the Chargers. What
And the
about
Jags. I mean, my reasoning is you got
the Jags?
Playmakers.
you got
galore,
Jesus
man.
at quarterback.
Yeah.
You got the Holy Spirit at tight end, and then you got Father God coaching the team. I mean, you got the Holy Trinity.
I don't think. Urban
How do you
Meyer's-
not ride with these
I
guys?
don't think Urban Meyer's ever been called the Father God.
I'm just saying, in this situation, he's the father. Of
So,
the,
I mean, you
of
have Travis-
the Trinity.
Travis Etienne, who they're going to convert the wide receiver according to Urban Meyer. James Robinson, who played way above his head. Let's hope he can keep that up this year. DJ Chark, who hopefully comes back from injury and regains form from 2 seasons ago. And Laviska Shenault, who's a playmaker that they verbatim last year said, let's get this guy the ball however we can.
Yep, I'm with you.
And another team that we heavily debated and ultimately dropped off of honorable mentions was the Jets, just because there's so many unknowns. But damn it, if they didn't add a lot to their offense, man, that's interesting.
They did.
Zach Wilson.
That's the big question
Michael
mark to
Carter,
me is Wilson.
Yeah, Corey Brown, or
Corey Davis.
Corey
Who's
Davis?
Corey Brown?
I don't know.
Okay, Corey Davis.
Corey Davis.
They still got Mims there. They got Crowder there. And they drafted another wideout. Who did they?
Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore. Yeah,
Moore,
they got a
There's
lot of horses in the stable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to feel like, and
that's-
I think that's what's, we don't know who, but somebody's breaking out of that
The
wide
beauty is
receiver.
you can stack that team in drafts or in rounds 17 through 20.
Right.
All these other teams, you got to try to stack them in the first couple of rounds. The
Yeah.
Jets, you could probably stack them at the end of the draft.
That's true.
Yeah. So, so that's kind of our reasoning behind it, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where we landed. And we had a pretty spirited debate before we went on air, so that we didn't have a spirited debate.
On air.
on
air.
air, which
Yeah.
we still had anyway,
A little bit.
over property value.
We do want to say that without a doubt, we did hurt Mark's feelings a little bit because we refused to put the Bears into our honorable. I mean,
They were right there, too.
They were there.
They were there, but we just couldn't. We just didn't know what to expect because there is a chance that the Bears somehow trade back and get Trubisky again.
There's that.
You just don't know.
Or the
what-
Bears could just bear.
Yeah, they could just
The
bear
Bears
out.
don't have a good track record trading up to draft quarterbacks. Plain and simple. Well, they just
That's why
don't
they
have a good
might have the worst.
track
Bear-
record with
Bears
quarterbacks
being
at
the
all.
Bears.
You know, I mean, that actually during the whole show too. I don't know if this is a little bit out of left field. You keep grabbing your left glute. What is that all about,
I
buddy?
have a slight.
Like you keep sliding off like
had
you got a
slight
bruise.
medical procedure on my knee and
Oh,
my
really?
and my ass.
What the hell is that? Oh,
I don't know if I would lead out with calling it a knee procedure per
yeah.
se.
They went through your ass, huh?
They went really through both. They were double day.
Oh, so you
doing
said
it.
both ends.
Yeah, both
little
ends.
rotisserie
Yeah.
action.
So I'm recovering, and unlike what these guys would like you to believe that I'm wealthy beyond belief, I actually work for a living. Like these guys are texting me all day long, and
That's
I'm like at work.
not me.
I'm at work.
I'm not texting all day. Now, Mark,
He's in surgery.
I question what he's doing with his life, but
So I was running orders out all day. So I got like almost 6 miles of walking in this morning, and I wasn't supposed to be walking at all.
really,
So, I don't know if I'm sweating or bleeding down there right now, but we'll
you
find
probably
out when I
should
go
have
home.
checked it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you check it out through the show.
yeah.
So
All right, well, I think that's it. You want to tell them where they can find this, Rock?
yeah, I do, and I'm gonna hit this real quick too, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
But Guys, we are everywhere. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. We'd love for you to subscribe, like us on YouTube. Tell
Comment.
us, comment,
Please
questions.
subscribe. We need it.
We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok. We're generally speaking everywhere.
Instagram.
Instagram. But we do need subs, so our numbers are increasing, and we're really thankful.
I mean, I think it comes through. Like, we genuinely love doing this. Like, this is fun, man. We all work like full time.
Yeah, we don't like each other so much, but we like the subject matter.
We want you to
cut
like
time
us.
out, man. We want you to love us as much as we love us.
We're desperate for your love.
We are.
We gained 19 new subscribers last 2 weeks, so we appreciate it. And tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your sister, your
especially
brother.
your mom.
Anyways, thanks, guys.
Peace.